Hello, everybody, and welcome to the No Zone. This is the Tardis Zone Talks, and we're here to talk about RTD and Ncuti, and of course, the media, because I am going to tell you exactly what is going to happen. And the reason why I know this is because all of us experienced this type of thing during the Chris Chibnall era. Ncuti has done a series of interviews over the past few months, but I'd say this week or last week, whenever all of these interviews start coming out, he's been speaking up about the British government and talking about the vision, talking about trans issues, talking about the fact that he's a black man, all of this other nonsense. And the reason why I say nonsense is because they're already setting up the narrative, folks. We've seen this with the Jodie Whittaker era, when there was a pushback, when there was discourse within the fandom. They came out and said that fans were sexist, all of this other nonsense. Now, RTD and Ncuti are actually doing the exact same thing here, right? Instead of focusing on, and this is the most important thing, folks, instead of the media and other people out there that support this show, focus on the fact that RTD is going to be absolutely horrible as a writer, and we've already seen that with his return. He's not the same RTD of 2005, okay? It's just as simple as that. He's a completely different person, and to be quite honest with you, I don't think when it comes to Doctor Who, he's going to be able to achieve what he did in 2005, and that's just a simple fact of the matter. But they're already setting it up because they know failure is on the way. So rather than focus and the media focus on how bad the writing is and focusing on RTD, and this is the important thing, folks, right? It doesn't matter whether you believe Ncuti is wrong for the role or he's bad or anything like that. The bottom line is that this time, when we discuss this era, for the people that do discuss it, we should focus on the main person that's made these decisions, and that's RTD himself, right? This whole narrative now is being set up because they know that failure is on the way. And the reason why they know is because the 60th didn't do as well as they thought it was going to do. The Christmas special didn't do as well as they thought it was going to do. And no matter what figures, by the way, that the shills out there throw at you and show you all of these figures, okay, it's still bad. They're missing the big point here. The 60th anniversary, the 60th celebration of Doctor Who couldn't even muster up enough views, right? It was an absolute failure. It was an absolute failure. That's the bottom line, right? The woman who fell to earth is still the benchmark, by the way. Hate to say it, but it is, right? That got nearly 14 million views, right? So that's the benchmark. And let's be honest, the Chibnall era never lived up to that benchmark. And it looks like that this guy is not going to live up to the benchmark. So rather than focus on Ncuti and how bad or good he's going to be, right? The bottom line is the writing, okay? And so far the writing has been goddamn average, pretty average. So now we're getting all of this crap coming out about racism, about how the country of the England, the UK, I should say, is racist. It's the same here. It's the same here. They throw out the racist word. You know, it's the favorite word of the lefties. They love throwing out that word racist. Everybody is racist in their eyes, right? But the fact is that there's deep seeds of racism within them. and this is why they project a lot, right? Because they're the racists, right? They hate their own colour skin. They hate the skin that they're even in themselves, right? These lefty lunatics that keep going around telling everybody that they're racist. It's an absolute joke, right? I'm not saying that there isn't a level of racism within society, right? In any country. Of course there is. There always is going to be, right? But I do believe, and a lot of other people believe, we were going in the right direction. We were going in the right direction. We were solving issues of racism in other countries. Maybe not in America, but America is not our problem. And this is the thing, because things happen in America, then every other country has to be the same. We're all the same, apparently. But that's not true. This is why I wanted to do this stream. I don't know, it's been a while since I've done an afternoon stream on a Friday, as you know yourselves. Now, I'm going to, obviously I have Brendan and Cinnamon on at 7, but there's a football match on here tonight, and I'm actually prepping for a protest on Sunday. So I'm going to have to, I hate to do this again, but, I mean, it's only me and Chris and Real Super Doctor that show up anyway, but we'll do it when we can. But I've got to put the movies on hold again because I've got things to prep for Sunday and stuff. So going to be very busy. But back to this topic. I wanted to do this today, and I wanted to get this stuff off my chest because we've seen this playbook being played before, right? Okay, when Joe Martin's Doctor, Fugitive Doctor, was cast, they tried to throw out the racism card. Unfortunately for them, it kind of backfired because everybody was in agreement. Okay, yeah, while some didn't believe that a woman should be in the role playing the Doctor, a lot of us did say that she, for the few minutes that she was playing the Fugitive Doctor, she upstaged Jodie Whittaker. So they couldn't throw the racism card out, right? But this time they can because they've heard. And do you know what? I'm going to say this. I would not be surprised if that was part of the thinking with RTD and Disney executives or whoever got together to put this together. Right? And hide, like what Disney do, hide behind the race card. Right? The bottom line, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Right? Yeah, and look at folks. People will say, well, no, you're jumping the gun. It can't be that bad. Trust me, if they're coming out with this crap now, right, with a few weeks to go before this show launches, and they're coming out with the racism stuff, and they're coming out because they don't agree with the CAS report, they're all coming out now and screaming transphobia now. Everybody's transphobic now. So not only are we all a bunch of racists, bigots, sexists, we're transphobic now, and all of this other stuff. So everything that the left hand book could throw at you, they're throwing at you as a fan, because this is the tactic they will use to distract you away from the fact that the writing is so poor. And you'll have people in this fandom that run YouTube channels that will defend all of this, and then they in turn then will call anybody out in the fandom behind a little block button, right? And send hatred towards their account because they happen to not agree with their opinions. Listen, we know you sellouts are gonna back RTD, you're gonna back all of this rhetoric, but be under no illusion, we're prepared this time. Right, we're prepared this time. You can't throw the racism card around. I was actually super excited for Ncuti's casting. Right, when he was announced, people in this chat and all had their doubts. Right, but I was there and I said, no, I'm actually happy with the casting. Do you know what? I don't give a shit about his skin color. The fact is, they cast a man as the Doctor. Right, but as it's went on, and as I've heard him with the stuff that he's coming out with, right, and all of this other rubbish, right, I have to seriously question that. Is he the right man for the job? Because if you're only in there to push this narrative, well then I'm sorry, you know better than Jodie Whittaker. But the difference is, folks, that the focus shouldn't be on Ncuti, right? Some people have their doubts anyway. So you already have made up your mind, which is fair enough. But remember that the main focus here should be on RTD and his writing team. Well, the lack of writing team, right? But that's where the focus should be. If this falls apart, if this is absolutely ridiculous, if this show falls off a cliff, right? He's gonna all take it out on Ncuti if he's wanted, but that's what they want. This is why they're spreading this propaganda. That's what they want. So instead, focus on the writer, right? Deconstruct everything that he does. Show the audience out there why everything is wrong. Why everything is bad about this show. What's wrong with it? Deconstruct everything that he does, because this is the only way to wake people up, right? Because going after Ncuti is not going to accomplish anything, right? He's coming out and saying the stuff that he wants because he's looking for that backlash now, right? It's why I haven't responded. You know, I've put up my few posts and that's it. I haven't said anything that crosses the line or anything like that, right? But the bottom line is that's all the attention he's getting now. My focus is on RTD. I want to see what he has produced. And if it's not good enough, we call that out. Forget about the distraction of the racism and the transphobia that the media are already setting up, folks. They've already set it up, this narrative, just like they did when they cast Jodie Whittaker, right? The media straight away were rolled out to say anybody against Jodie Whittaker was sexist, was misogynistic, right? It's going to be the same thing here now. Anybody that doesn't like Doctor Who, right, is a racist. That's what they're going to say, right? And it's transphobia and all of this, and the far right, all of this. This is all the terminology that you're going to get, right, in the media now, running up to this season opener. And then when it doesn't go well, and I'm predicting it won't go well, right, you know what's going to happen? They'll be rolled out again, say, well, the reason why people didn't tune in is because they're all a bunch of racists. That's what you're going to get. That's the thanks that the British people get for supporting this show for 60 years. You're going to be called racists and transphobic, and you've already been called sexist and misogynistic. How much more is it going to take for everybody to wise up? The people that have been shilling for RTD, shilling for Chris Chibnall. I mean, you ought to be, you know what, you want to be ashamed of yourselves. You claim to love this show, but yet you are sitting there and supporting the open destruction of a 60-year franchise. And for what? To prove that you're not a racist, to prove that you're not this, that, and the other. And the bottom line is, it's all projection from you all, including the media, right? Do you know who's stoking the division in the world? The media and the governments, right? And all of these lefty lunatics. Look at it. Ever since the lefties start becoming more prominent within politics and all facets of society, look how bad it's gotten. Look how actually bad it's gotten, right? They create nothing but division, right? Lefty movements, Me Too, BLM, right? The climate fucking movement, Just Oil, right? All of these other hashtags and stuff that they come up with, right? Every single one of them have been designed to divide us all, right? Have blacks turn against whites, all of this other nonsense, turn us all against each other. It's to cause social fucking chaos, right? That's what they want, right? To cause social chaos, for the social structures to completely be destroyed, and then they shape it in their so-called utopian world. But this is their utopia, folks, right? Literally everybody's living day to day, hoping that nobody drops the old, N-bombs, the nukes. I don't know if you can say nukes. That's why I said N-bombs. But we say nukes, right? We'll say it out straight. Everybody's living day to day wondering if today is the last day, right? That's no way to live anyway. I'm just getting on with it, to be quite honest with you. But it is in the back of my head. I'm not going to lie. Of course, you know, still lots to achieve. So yeah, I don't want to be going anywhere anytime soon. But that's the so-called utopia, right? They've divided us. Listen, we've gone backwards, right? We're seeing incidents all over Europe, all over America, right? The usual, right? They talk about racism. They've created racism. They've created a generation of black people who have been brainwashed to absolutely hate white people, and we've seen the result of that. Now, when white people did it back in the day, right, it was frowned upon, and it was racist, it was white supremacy, all of this. But it gets a pass now from the lefties, who have enabled these young generation of black kids to believe that somehow they're enslaved and all of this other rubbish that they fill their heads with, right? As I said, before the lefties took over, we were going in the right direction. We've been set back decades now, thanks to these people. But that's exactly what they wanted. They need that social chaos. They need us to completely collapse. So then they come in and they rebuild it. They rebuild this so-called utopia that they have, where everybody is equal and blah, 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 blah. But it's all smoke and mirrors, folks, because when they talk about equality, they don't mean equality for me or you or anybody out there, because remember, these are the same people that have told us that we've got white privilege, that we're privileged because we're white people. So when they talk about equality, they're not talking about equality for us. And that's the thing that's absolutely scary about this, is that they've been pushing this propaganda for a long time now. Nobody with a half a brain has turned around and said, hang on for a minute. That seems a bit racist. That seems a bit, that's going to upset the apple cart. That's going to, cause social chaos. And people just go with it. So this is the playbook from the left. This is what RTD is going to do now. His media pals will back him to the hilt. They won't come out and say if he's right and is bad, but they'll focus on the racism and the transphobia, apparently, that's in the Doctor Who fandom. And then what they'll go on to do then is they'll go on to blame the current government, because that's what they do. It's the same playbook in every... Listen, they've been doing this a long time now. Everybody should know what the left do. They have no other tools. They have no other weapons, right? It's the same thing over and over again. They're not that smart, you see. They can't come up with new ideas, right? So they use the same old tired playbook time and time again. And this time, people should not fall for it. And as I said, the focus shouldn't be on Ncuti Gatwa this time, right? Like it was on Jodie Whittaker. Of course, the focus was on Jodie Whittaker because she was the first female doctor and she didn't help herself whatsoever. Ncuti's not helping himself, but in fairness, he's probably being brainwashed because he's a young man. He's not old, like, do you know what I mean? So, he's being brainwashed as well. So, you know what I mean? He's going to go along with whatever RTD does, and that's the focus right there. It should be on RTD. He's the one that's making these decisions, and whoever's behind Disney that's putting in stuff in the show as well. That's the focus there, right there, folks. Right? That should be the focus. But they're setting this up, and look, the last time when Jodie Whittaker was cast, one of my very early videos, I did a video similar to the stream that I'm doing here today. And I made the very exact same predictions that they were going to weaponize Jodie Whittaker, and they were basically going to call everybody sexist and misogynistic and all of this other nonsense, right? It's the same playbook being used. It's the same thing being used, except this time it's not about gender. This time it's actually about, well, it is about gender with the trans stuff that they'll come out with, but you know what I mean, I'm talking about as in female doctor. And that was the focus then. Now they flipped it, and now they're going to use the race card, race baiting, and this is what I don't like. So that's on RTD, right? And of course, people will say, well, Ncuti is there and he's facilitating it. Listen, at the end of the day, if you want to focus on Ncuti, that's fine, but I think you're barking up the wrong tree. The bottom line is, if you want serious change with this show and you want to put pressure on whoever's running this show to either cancel it or to do better, right, then the focus has to be on the people that are in charge of it, right? That's the bottom line. It's as simple as that. That's where the focus should be. That's where the criticism should be aimed at. And I say criticism, right? So for anybody out there that tries to twist it, I'll say it for a third time. Criticism, right? Because, you know, in fandom, you're not allowed to criticize anymore because it's framed a different way. Oh, they're being hateful. They're being bullies. No, criticism. And anybody that's in the public eye, especially anybody that's writing for a show like Doctor Who and whose, you know, job is to safeguard the show, is up for criticism if they don't do their job properly. It's as simple as that. And if you don't like that, well, then I suggest you go somewhere else because, you know, this is what fandom is all about. You know, I know there are a bunch of you know, people in this fandom that will just support anything, right? And that's fair enough if you want to sell your soul rather than actually protect the show and call this out so we can actually get decent Doctor Who. Well, then, you know, you're part of the problem, not the solution. And the bottom line is that you people that facilitate RTD, you know, you don't have the best interest of the show, and you never have. You want a virtual signal and prove to people that you aren't racist, you aren't sexist, you aren't transphobic and all that. You try too hard. You absolutely try too hard, right? Seems to me that a lot of you have skeletons in your closet, and this is why it's kind of like you's a repentance or whatever. You have justified it in your own little head. But the bottom line is the game is up. You know, Doctor Who is on its last legs, whether Disney money is in or not, right? The bottom line is people will see through whatever happens with this era, right? Because they have the experience of the previous one. So they'll see right through this. They'll see right through the writing, and the writing doesn't stack up. Well, we will be here to dissect it all. It's as simple as that. Now, let's see who's in the chat, because I see the chat is hopping. So let's go straight up there now to the top if I can. Maybe I can't, but we'll call out whatever names. We'll throw a few people up on the screen as well. So we got Garbage. In the chat, and he says he totally agrees. He's also saying that he's seeing no attacks anywhere. Remember when RTD stood on stage and said the fight goes on? What on earth is he going on about? Well, he was unhinged there. Nigel is in the chat as well. Welcome. It's the Chibnall era all over again. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, you don't have to be Albert Einstein or Sherlock Holmes to figure this out. They're already setting it up, folks. I just wanted to do this stream today to actually, you know, remind people And now people will see it that haven't actually seen it, will see it now. Maybe others will report on it, because I think it's very important that this is highlighted before the era starts off again, because they're setting it up that everybody is racist and transphobic. I'm telling you, if you don't like this era of Doctor Who, that's exactly what you're going to be labelled by the press and all of those shills that have YouTube channels and Twitter accounts out there that hide behind a block wall. They're going to be calling people out and retweeting to people that they don't like. Therefore, then that their supporters will go to that person then, and hate will be directed their way, because according to the person that speaks for the fandom, like, they'll be racist and transphobic. So, we can't have that in our fandom, is what they're going to say, right? So what I'd say is then remove yourselves then from the fandom, because you're the issue. I'm not talking about trans people. I'm talking about the activists and the lefties that enable all of this bullshit. I know trans people. I have a few trans people that actually follow me on X, and I have the highest respect for them. See, the thing about it is, right, and this is the other thing that these people don't talk about, is there's actually trans people that don't agree with what's going on, right, with their community and how their community is being used. So, you got people talking about it that shouldn't be even talking about it. If you don't have kids, you shouldn't be talking about that issue. It's nothing to do with you, unless you're directly affected by it. We got Scottish Stavros in the chat as well. It'll be even more nasty. It will. It was a fan fiction, I agree. The Legend of the Travelling Tardis is in the chat as well. He says he smells Whovians. And he's just reminding us that today we said goodbye for the last time to Sarah Jane Smith 13 years ago. Rest in peace, Elizabeth. Robert Payne says they need racism and inequality to make themselves feel special. We nearly got rid of it, but the left brought it back. That's what I'm saying. We were heading in the right direction. We absolutely were. I'm not saying that we were perfect and there still wasn't work to do. Of course there was. And as I said, but we were getting there. These people have set us back now. I mean, listen, back in the 1950s and 60s, they had segregated spaces, right, for African Americans and white people, right? In 2024, they have those places in colleges in America. So what was the whole point of the civil rights movement if these people in 2024 were going to go revert back to the stuff that outraged African Americans and white people back in the day with all of this segregation? And now we have segregated black-only spaces. See, they've changed the word now. It's black-only spaces, right? So we've actually gone backwards. And this is the logic of the loony left. It's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. But they framed it in such a way that they've made all of this stuff that was bad back in the day good. But you know what? What can you do? We just have to keep voicing. And this is why some people say, well, you should stop talking about these things, Noel, and blah, blah, blah. But you can't. You've got to keep highlighting things that are going on, even with the entertainment industry, because it's all connected. Everything is connected. They revise history. Now they have archaeologists that apparently specialize in trans, right? But that makes absolutely no sense, because whether these idiots like it or not, the bottom line is even after you're dead, it doesn't matter what you identify as or whatever you do in life. If you're dug up 100 years later, they're able to determine whether you are male or female. and you'll never be able to change that. So all of this lunacy, it doesn't matter, right? Later on, when the world cops on, if it ever does cop on, when they look back in this time period, they're going to absolutely piss themselves laughing at how logic went out the window, and intelligence, most of all. Intelligence. Because the IQ of this planet, and I mean the whole planet, has dropped. Right? Has dropped. We're living in a society where idiots are controlling everything. Right? Right? Listen, you don't need to succeed in this leftist utopia. Right? You can literally, right, like one person that's friends with another person, Mr. Teabag, right, has a friend who threatened the British government. You can actually threaten the British government to be hailed as a hero. Now, whether you like the British government or not, you get me point. Do you know what I mean? You can literally fuck up the ladder, right? If you fucked up, you fell down the ladder, right? But you can literally fail and keep getting promoted in this modern society, right? That's how stupid it is. Participation medals and all of this. We've gone soft. We've gone absolutely soft. Well, not all of us, of course. You know, it's at least some of us that still have our heads screwed on. You know, because if there weren't people out there protesting against all of this stuff and speaking up and you know, even some of the famous people that are speaking up, we'd be in a worse off position than we're in now, right? And we think it's bad now. Because if we had it all set back and done nothing, right, it'd be worse off. It'd be worse off. Nigel thinks that society is very tribal. I do agree with you on that one. But that was the whole point. This was the whole point of all of these different things, the hashtags and all. Everything is designed, right, to make people believe a certain thing, right, and that certain thing is happening. It's reprogramming, and they were able to reprogram, unfortunately, some of the population of this planet. Well, the show is not going to end, Facebook user. That's the unfortunate thing, though. So we got to get that out of our heads because it's not ending. Listen, Disney Star Wars should have ended a long time ago, and it's still dragging out. Doctor Who is going to drag out, unfortunately. That's the sad reality of this whole situation. This is why I'm saying don't get distracted by the racism and the transphobia that the media is going to be talking about. We've got to focus on RTD and the people that are supposed to be safeguarding this show, right? And that's where the focus has to be. We've got to put the pressure on the people whose job is to safeguard the show. It's as simple as that. Going after Ncuti because you don't like his performance or because he does something you didn't like in the show. Remember, that's all written by RTD, right? Most of the stories for this first season are written by him anyway, right? So he's the main culprit here. He's the showrunner. He's the one that decided that he has all the power. Remember that. So that's where the focus should be. Rather than like what we all did the last time, including myself, we focused on Whittaker, but we didn't really focus on Chris Chibnall. It was only later on when we all start focusing on Chibnall. I suppose during the reviews we did focus on his writing and how bad it was, but the focus should have been relentless and should have been continued to be on him. This is what I'm saying. This time around, the focus has to be on RTD, and it must remain on RTD because he's the man that's made all the decisions. It will be. I do agree. This is why I'm doing this. They're setting it up. This is why the propaganda is coming out, because they're setting it up. When it ultimately fails, then they'll just pull out the race card and the transphobic card. And that's why I'm doing this stream, because I have to remind people that this is the exact same thing that they did under the Whitaker era, except this time, obviously, they're going to, as I said, pull out that race card, and everybody is transphobic. Doctor Who should have ended with Capaldi. I do agree. The lunatics have taken over the asylum. They really do. Yes, they have. We've got someone called Rami in the chat. He says, no, where would you recommend a visit if you're talking about Ireland? Wow. Where would I say go? To be quite honest with you, I don't know if Dublin is safe or the country is safe right now. I don't know. See, if you had asked me that question 5-6 years ago, I would have said Galway. I would have said some parts of Cork are beautiful. Kerry, Tipperary. I've been to Tip a few times myself. Kilkenny as well is absolutely beautiful. Waterford was lovely. Wexford. There would have been loads of places, but we're hearing every day of incidents all over the country and stuff, and it's just, well, if we're not safe in our own country, how can tourists be safe? So that's the way I'd put it. Chibs and RTD and even Moffat are all in the same boat. It needs fresh blood and non-agenda people to run it, says John Steed. It's John. Hey, John. Thanks for that comment, mate, and all your other comments. I do agree with you. I said this actually a while back. That's the issue that we have, isn't it? We've got former fans or fans of the show that have become writers and stuff because they were inspired, I suppose, by Doctor Who, and have come in, and it's a bit self-indulgent, isn't it? And that's what these eras have been. They've all been self-indulgent. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and slate New Who. Like, a lot of people have said, look, if you go back and watch New Who again, you can see but I knew that already, and I liked it, because the writing and the acting for me always outshone whatever bloody message that was there. Do you know what I mean? So it didn't really bother me that much. For God's sake, I bleed in love of monsters. Like, do you know what I mean? That's probably, it's a bit of a camp episode, but there's a serious undertone in it as well. And I think maybe people were distracted by all the Peter Kay alien thing and stuff, but I forget what that was called again. Zorbalov. Yeah. I think people got kind of distracted, but when he was playing Mr. Kennedy, like he was actually brilliant. I can't understand why they didn't keep it like that. But look, Elton's mother was killed that night. You know what I mean? So I actually really do like that. I don't like the end, of course. Yeah, the end is a bit freaky with that slate girl. What the hell? Jesus Christ. But it was there. But you know what I mean? We were able to kind of laugh it off because, as I said, the writing and the acting was actually pretty decent. You know what I mean? And we like these characters. So, but it's going to be different this time. Real Super Doctor is also in the chat, and he says it's RTD. It's RTD that is bad influence. It's like he has power over his cast. Daniel references the Space Babies. I mean, he says the Space Babies episode makes me most uneasy in relation to the cast report. The content of that one in particular is worrying. says Scottish Davros and friends wrestle with pop culture. And for anybody that isn't aware, obviously the Cass report has absolutely and utterly destroyed the lefty activist narrative on trans issues with kids, but we won't get into it on here because anytime I do bring it up, there seems to be a bit of an issue, but then I appeal and then everything is fine. But we do already know that RTD has been pushing the trans agenda into Doctor Who, and I think that's why Scottish Davros is a bit worried about the content of that episode. What exactly is he going to do with the space babies? It'll be interesting, to say the least. But we don't have long to wait. We got in the chat. We got Glenn Piper as well. I hope you guys end up pleasantly surprised and you enjoy the show. I don't think we're going to be pleasantly surprised, though. That's the thing. And I've been pretty much positive up until a few months back, I suppose, or a couple of months back, maybe 2-3 months ago. But I've just been, look, what I've seen this before, and this is why I know it's going to be bad, because if you're going to be coming out now with a series of quotes from an interview and actual, words coming out of his mouth on certain issues, then they're only doing that because they need the distraction. What Ncuti should be talking about right now, right? He shouldn't be bringing anything else into it, quite frankly. Ncuti should be talking about the show, his upcoming season. The same with RTD. That's what they should be doing. But the fact that they've come out with all of this, it's the same tactic that Chibs used, right? They know, I'm telling you, it's going to, I hate to say it, but it's going to be absolutely awful. It's going to be absolutely awful. And watch the media. When you see that first weekend, anybody has criticisms, mark my word, you are racist or you're transphobic, right? That's what the articles will be about. They won't be about RTD's writing, right? It'll all be a distraction, right? Because they don't want you to focus on the writing, right? They want the fandom to believe that fans out there are racist and transphobic. And that's what they'll go with. It's as simple as that. There's no other way around it. They've played this hand before, and they're going to play it again. Except the difference is, as I said, it's just the narrative is different. That's it. But the same thing is going to happen. And we've already seen from the writing that he's produced so far, it's been bang average. Right? He's pushed the message. Right? So if you have bad average stories, but you're pushing the message and you're pushing the message hard, which he did, well then, you know what I mean? What more is there to say? I mean, what other proof do you need that he's just using the show to push a message and doesn't really give a crap about producing good stories? And that's what the focus should be on. Alarm bells started to ring true when RTD decided to change the origins of Davros. Says John, Doctor Who hasn't been Doctor Who for a long time. I would agree with that assessment. It was a mistake for me to watch the specials, as I didn't watch any of the Whittaker stuff. So I know it's going to be more crap to come. Definitely not watching it and joining the train wreck. Real Super Doctor says it's likely has Jinx as the new master, so he could prepare the Doctor for what is to come. I mean, look, there's no more I can actually say, but fans need to open their eyes to what's going on here, because they're already being set up, and I don't like it, but it's what they do when they've nowhere else to run, folks. And it's absolutely sad because, whether you agree with the Disney thing or not, right? But if there was no Disney interference, and I know this is a pipe dream, but if there had been no Disney interference, and say we got a showrunner in and a team of writers that never worked on Doctor Who before, but worked on other sci-fi shows that were successful, and they brought them in because they wanted a fresh take on the show, but remaining loyal to canon as much as possible. Of course, Doctor Who canon is all over the place. We know that, but there are certain things that fans, value. The fact that the Doctor is from Gallifrey and was born on Gallifrey is a huge thing for a lot of fans. He stole his TARDIS and he left. Right, that's being changed now with this Timeless Child nonsense, and RTD has confirmed that he's going to be actually the Timeless Child is sprinkled throughout this whole thing. So it's this is the problem we have. We have to stop bringing in these people that have written for the show in the past or our fans. We need a fresh look at this, and if we had that and no interference from anybody, I can guarantee you what we get would be 10 times better than what we've gotten over the last few years. Right? And it'd be interesting as well, because you'd have a fresh look, a fresh eye on the show. And that's what we need. You're bringing back the same old stale and thinking that it's going to work because you got a bigger budget. And that's another thing that scares me, is the fact that they're talking about how big the budget is and how the budget is going to allow him to create. So he's talked about how the budget gives him the resources to do different alien faces, right? But nothing about the writing. It was just about how it could better the aliens and the effects. Remember, no matter how good this looks, and it does look sensational, by the way, do not get distracted by how good this looks, right? People have to honestly look at this and review this with properly. To be quite honest with you, I know the other side won't. They will just blow smoke everywhere, and they will be singing RTD's praises and everybody's praises, right? But the bottom line is that the rest of us, we just have to deconstruct everything and just show why his writing is so bad. And it is going to be poor, because we've already seen what he's produced, and it's bang average, okay? So I don't see him improving on that, especially if he's banging home certain messages. It's game over for the show. But as I said, even though it's game over for the show, the sad and unfortunate thing is that this is going to drag on for a few years. And that's the sad thing. We're going to see Doctor Who's slow death, right? Like we've seen Star Wars' slow death over these last few years. And it's not going to be pretty, folks. It's not going to be pretty. And then when the spin-offs happen as well, right? And this is my biggest worry. A spin-off comes out and it happens to be good. I'm just saying they might get lucky, right? I doubt it. But say they do get lucky and they have a successful show on their hands. And imagine if that show got more views than Doctor Who did, right, on streaming services. It would be an absolute embarrassment to a 60-year-old franchise. But they don't care about embarrassing Doctor Who. They're going to milk this for everything that they can. And it's a goddamn shame. But what can you say? The Doctor died at Trenzalore, says Subject Nivelis. Sorry, I'm very poor with pronunciations. The Doctor will die a death for every regeneration by the end. The fans will beg for the show's cancellation. Lack of good stories. What will be the focus. RTD's agenda will taint his storytelling, says John. That's exactly where the focus should be, and I absolutely agree with that. And I think, you know, we need to be very careful in this fandom, because they look at, you know, they had no problem throwing around the labels that they threw around when people didn't like Jodie Whittaker, and a lot of people got hurt, and a lot of people were bullied offline. So I would just say this time, you know, let's put all the focus on RTD. Let's deconstruct all of his story, his writing, his character development, see if it's there, see if it holds up. That's how we do this time. It's not about Ncuti or the supporting cast or anything they come out with. Because remember, Chris Chibnall did the same. The supporting cast start opening their mouth and all of this crap. And be under no illusion, the supporting cast for any episode come out and there's any discourse within the fandom because they don't like the show, those supporting cast will also come out with their interviews, say how the fandom is racist and all of these other labels. But that's all distraction, folks, right? The focus should be on RTD and the people that he's brought in, right? Which is not many to write a couple of stories. That's who the focus should be on, right? The people that are safeguarding this show are supposed to be safeguarding this show. They have thrown every buzzword at me at this point. I embrace it. If you don't like it, you're anti-LGBT, okay, and blah, blah, blah. I agree with you, mate. I agree. And this, you know, the bottom line is that, like, none of these labels are going to work this time. Do you know what I mean? I don't, look, listen, I'll say it out straight. I don't give two shits if people out there think I'm racist and transphobic, right? The bottom line is I know I'm not. The people that know me know I'm not. Right, the people here that support this channel know I'm not, right? Everybody that knows me knows that I'm not. So, to be quite honest with you, why would I get bothered by some little lefty lunatic out there that wants to throw that my way? Go ahead, you're free to do so. They're hurty words. Now move on, blah, blah, blah. I've heard it all before. You know what I mean? The bottom line is I give zero craps, right? I've heard it all before. Okay, and you know what? If you want to waste your energy and your time coming after me, you go ahead, waste your energy and waste your time. What I'm going to waste my energy on and my time on is focusing on how bad RTD is, his writing is, his character development is, how bad the message is being forced into each episode and all that. That's what I'm going to focus on. That's what the good people in this Doctor Who fandom are going to focus on. People that actually care about the show and want the show to be safeguarded, right? That's what we'll focus on. You just can focus on throwing all of these labels out. You have nothing else to throw at us. That's the only thing you ever have, right? Because you have no facts to back up any of the crap that you come out with anyway. You never do. And if you do have facts, they're bought and paid for. As simple as that. So that's the way people look at it this time. You know what I mean? Let's do our thing. What we do every era of Doctor Who, folks, and let's do it without having to feel that we're being attacked and all of this. The bottom line is if you just put it out your mind, let them waste their time, let them waste their energy. If they want to waste their energy on me, they'll drive more views to the channel. It's as simple as that. That's what they'll do. So let them, right? We'll take it. Eventually, the bottom line is when this franchise crashes and burns, which it will at some stage, right? Those people then, we know then who's responsible for the downfall of the show. And then, do you know what? Those people, as the Doctor said, you know, run. Basically run. Because, you know, nobody will ever forget the way you've treated OG fans, long-term fans, and other fans who didn't subscribe to all your nonsense. And we will reclaim the fandom, and we will reclaim Doctor Who, no matter how long it takes. And that's just the bottom line. But I'm going to leave it there for now. As I said, I am back at 7 tonight with Brendan from the Sense Fair and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And we will be talking more Ncuti, of course. So come and join us for that. But for now, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, of course, if you haven't subscribed already. and we will see you guys very soon for the next one. So have a good afternoon, we should say, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye bye.